Once again, back on the Rich Eisen Show is a man who speaks fluent, Jerry, as he is the longest tenured Dallas Cowboys beat writer representing DLLS Cowboys. Ladies and gentlemen, Clarence Hill. Good to see you again, Clarence. How are you?
How you doing today?
Well, you tell me. I mean, what did Jerry mean by that, and what was the context in which he said it on Monday, Clarence?
Jerry is embarrassed and disappointed that they don't have a deal done with Micah Parsons. Jerry and Micah Parsons actually, I reported in March that they had a handshake deal, verbal agreement on a deal to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, so the currently highest paid player. And Micah asked Jerry to call his agent, and Jerry and Steven have not done that. And now this was in March, and now we're in late July, getting ready to go to August, starting the training camp. They still have a deal done. Micah Parsons is here, but he most likely will have a hold in. So Jerry is coming up with reasons why they don't have a deal. And he's saying, well, the guy could get hurt. Well, that's the case with any deal you make with anybody. Certainly, he signed Dak Prescott last year to the richest contract in sports in the NFL, $60 million annually, and he only played 8 games. Micah Parsons played 4 games last year because he had a high ankle sprain. But that comes with a dinner with football. I mean, players get hurt, which is one reason why players are pushing or should be pushing more for guaranteed contract. But that's part of it. To bring it up and act like that's why they don't have a deal done, that's not true.
Well,
And
the thing is I'm with you, Clarence. We were saying at the top of the show, this sounds like man raging at clouds, right? Like, yeah, I mean, you in any sport, somebody look at basketball with the stars in basketball in the NBA who now have blown out Achilles and what that means for the entire team. Somebody's going to eventually get hurt, certainly in a contact sport like the NFL. So you're saying this statement is born out of the fact that Jerry and Steven had a handshake deal with the player himself, and the player himself says, talk to my agent, and they still haven't actually followed that instruction from the player? Is that what you're saying, Clarence? Is that what it is?
they still have not, the two principals, Jerry and Steven, the guys who make the decisions, have not talked to the agent, David Mulugeta of Athletes First, one of the top agents in the country. They have not talked to the agent. Their cap guy has, Adam Pacifica, but Jerry and Steven, who Michael asked to talk to his agent, have not talked to the agent. And I'm just saying, Jerry spent a lot of time during the press conference come up with reasons why he hasn't done the deal. I need to see more leadership from Michael. I need to see him, in camp, patting players on the butt because it's going to be a hold in. I need to see more. Well, you didn't need to see more because you already had a handshake deal, a verbal agreement on a deal in March without saying all that. So now we're in late July, August. Why don't you have a deal? Well, he's coming up with reasons, example of why they may not have a deal. Well, the agent, needs to call us or whatever else. Well, Micah asked you to call the agent. They haven't done that.
Clarence Hill here on the Rich Eisen Show. Is the TJ Watt deal complicated this anymore, do you think, Clarence?
Because they understood from the beginning that no matter that, and they've said they want to make Micah the richest non-quarterback in the NFL. And before TJ Watt, it was Garrett, and Jamar Chase, and TJ Watt only went $1 million over them. So, I mean, if 40 was realistic, that now that TJ Watt is 41, then that doesn't have an impact.
Okay.
I mean, he was going to get that anyway. Well, now is it 41? Is it 42? Is it 43? How much higher do you go? But, Micah said he knows he's going to be the richest non-quarterback. He is comfortable in knowing that he wants to be in camp. He wants to be practicing with his teammates. He's out here, and going to be around. And I think the fact that he's out here going to be around knows that it's a matter of time because the Cowboys have never not gotten something done. If you go back to all the negotiations, going back to Zeke, when he said Zeke who before, and Zeke got upset.
Right. Yes.
And then he signed Zeke. And last year, CD missed all the camp, and Dak, decided to start to the morning of the season opener. Jerry always gets the deal done. It's just a matter of when. And for Jerry, it's sport. If you listen to his press conference yesterday, he was just enjoying life, enjoying being GM of the Cowboys, making jokes about Landman and cartoon and talking about you guys have, there's nothing you can say that's going to impact me because I've heard it all, I've been through it all, and he has. But I remember a time when public criticism did impacted decision making. Going back to Randy Moss, when they passed on Randy Moss because of the criticism of the bad boy Cowboys of the '90s, they passed on the Hall of Fame Randy Moss and drafted Greg Ellis. When everybody knows they should have drafted Randy Moss, and Randy Moss expected to come to Dallas at that time, but Jerry was swayed by public opinion. He was swayed by the media. Uh, but I think that now. We're seeing a different Jerry Jones and how he handles his business with the Cowboys, and they're not they don't spend the money like they used to. They don't go all in, so to speak, in putting this team together. And 82 years old, Jerry is enjoying working with his sons, working with his family. Certainly, his franchise is the richest in sports. He does have 3 Super Bowls. The angst for him is not the same for fans who've never seen the Cowboys be winners, or these players who have to bear the burden of the '90s on their back, like Dak and CD and Micah. He got 3 Super Bowls he can sleep with, and he has the richest franchise in sports. And he's on Landman, and he keeps talking about the next Netflix special. Life is good.
Yeah, I know the Landman speech that we saw, and that he said the best part got cut out of in his press conference on Monday. Everybody says that really is Jerry. Jerry wasn't making that up. Like, he truly does love working with his kids and things of that nature. But and it's funny you bring up what you brought up, because I was going to say, I said this to start the program too, Clarence, is the Micah Parsons liking the J.J. Watt tweet that criticizes Jerry's comments to sort of potentially seem like he's broadsiding Parsons and Dak for getting hurt or potentially not living up to a contract. Zeke hanging out in Cabo is holding the beer here. Like, this is nothing, when it compares to all of that. And Zeke wound up getting paid anyway. So it's just another day in Jerry world, is basically what you're saying? What Monday was?
If you listen to Netflix, he says it's a soap opera 365, and he's part of the reason why it's a soap opera, and he enjoys these moments. I really think he opens the press conference looking to go viral. Like, look, what can I say that's going to get these people laughing and shucking? I mean, when you talk about the Landman thing, about the best part, and he puts his finger up there, what he would have done to the guy. I mean, he enjoys that, and certainly we enjoy the banter of the owner and GM, and because he is the decision maker, but he makes it fun, but he enjoys the fun of it. I mean, he talks about he's never worked a day in his life, and I'm having fun. And why would I ever give up this job that I paid for to have fun with my team and enjoy life with my family? Not only does he get to work next to his sons, and his daughter Charlotte, but he also has his grandkids on the staff. I mean, he's as we get older, we take a stock in life, and we appreciate these moments. He's appreciating the moment.
Well, I got to tell you, Clarence, during that last response, because my head's always on a swivel here in the Rich Eisen Show studio, and I have my peripheral vision. Diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, TJ Jefferson, you were shaking your head throughout that entire answer. Like you were just, I mean, you want to interpret that? Because Clarence is here to help. Clarence is here to help right now.
I don't know if Clarence can help at this point. This is just a personal thing where I guess this is why people stay in loveless marriages, Clarence, because you're so used to each other. You fear what would happen if you leave each other, right? That's how I feel. But I got to be honest, that last thing you said there, when you really broke it down, right? At the end of the day, when it's all going to be written, it's going to be he had the most valuable franchise in sports. He had 3 Super Bowls. He helped bring advertising into the NFL. He did this, that, and the third.
He's got a bust for it.
At the end of the day, you just said he's doing what he wants to do. He paid for this team. He's working with his family. He's working with his sons and his grandsons. It's hard to argue that, like, he hasn't earned that right. He hasn't earned the right. Yeah, I want results
because you're the fan here.
But it's hard to, like, what argument can you give to this man at that point, right? Like, everything, based upon everything you said, how are you going to get him to change his mind? He's not going to. This is how it's going to be until the end.
And he's already in the Hall of Fame. He's already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so he has no reason to change.
I don't know, though. Clarence, where do you stand on that? Where that Jerry, I mean, although it seems, are you driving at that he's content enough You know, and
I
then
don't know if
everything.
he had the same. I don't know if he had the same hunger as Cowboy fans, the generation of Cowboy fans who've never seen the Cowboys be winners. I'm not saying Jerry doesn't want to win. Certainly wants to win again, but he's certainly enjoying having fun in running this franchise and having the richest franchise in sports. And it is my mom used to say a long time ago, you can't serve two masters. Either you focused on making money or you focused on winning.
And he's making money.
Well, and so in the few minutes we have left with you, Clarence, what? I guess let's talk about the actual wins and losses and how it looks, right? Right. I mean, training camp's open. It's Brian Schottenheimer's first run at it, not just for Dallas, but period. What are you hearing? What are you sensing that's different, that can be different, that will actually result in the wins that can take a lot of these conversations off the table? Clarence?
Well, the only thing the main thing is Dak being healthy. When Dak has been healthy and played the full complement of game, the Cowboys have been winners in the sense that they've made the playoffs. They've contended for the playoffs late in the season. It's just what it's going to happen when they get to the playoffs that's the issue, But they've generally been a playoff team when Dak is healthy. And Dak is healthy and ready to go, and the Cowboys are excited. They brought in George Pickens to pair with CeeDee Lamb. They should have one of the most exciting pass offers in the league. With CD and George Pickens and Dak Prescott throwing the ball around the park. When the last time he was fully healthy and played a fully complement of games, he was the MVP runner-up and really should have won it. His numbers were better than Lamar Jackson that year.
What about the run game? What about that?
That's the question. They've improved the offensive line. First round pick Tyler Booker. They should run the ball better. The question is who's going to carry the ball. And Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue. There's some questions at running back, but the blocking should be better. The threat of CD and George on the outside should help open things up in the running game. They should run the ball better, but the big issue for me, when we're talking about how good they can be, if they can make a playoff run, really deep playoff run for the first time since their last Super Bowl title in 1995. Remember, the Cowboys have the longest drought to get to the NFC title game in the NFC since Washington got there last year with Jaden Daniels. They have the longest drought. And that's something that Jerry should be sensitive about, and certainly the players and the fans are certainly sensitive about this long drought. But they got to find a way to stop the run. Their biggest bugaboo has been defense, not been able to stop the run, not been able to run the ball, but also not been able to stop the run. And they did little to improve their run defense last year.
Well, what about health-wise as well, Clarence? I mean, of all the people that might have sparked Jerry's soliloquy on injuries and big-time contracts not being lived up to because of it, there's Trayvon Diggs sitting there, right, and out. What's his scoop and the rest of the injury front going into this season?
Diggs is not he signed a rich contract a couple of years ago, and he's been injured the past 2 years. A torn ACL in 2023 after 3 games, and then last year he suffered a knee injury and has been out. It may not be back to October. That's the reality of it. And certainly he has a deal clause in his contract that he should be around for the offseason program and show up. And so he loses $500,000 on a $10 million salary. So he's going to make $9.5 million this year anyway, right? But he lost $500,000 of incentives to show up for the offseason program because he valued his trainer in Florida is going to get him help and get him healthy and ready to go for the bulk of his career, not just for this season. And he has a public spat with the Cowboys training department. And so he decided to train elsewhere. And Jerry threw him under the bus, so to speak, about his rehab and not being around yesterday. And we was talking about Micah. He just picked up and threw Diggs under the bus,
Yes.
and invoked Diggs into the conversation.
Yes.
But we all knew that Diggs was not, and everyone knows that Diggs' injury situation, he might not be ready for the start of the season. And that's been the case. And you add in Siobhan Rebel, the 3rd-round pick, who's also on the NFI list and coming off ACL injury. Yeah, they have questions in the secondary because you don't know when you're going to get Diggs, and you don't know. And Rebel coming off his ACL, he may not be at his best until next season.
So I guess lastly for you, before I let you go, the one other comment that lingered from the Jerry press conference on Monday to kick off the training camp season was the amount of time that he admitted that he considered no longer being general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. Was that frame of time shorter or longer than the retirement concepts of that Jordan once upon a time threw out there, right, about his return and things of that nature? Clarence, what'd you make of that comment from Jerry?
At least he admitted it was a fraction of a second. He told me last year that he's the best damn GM in the league, and nobody can do the job better than him. Nobody has more experience doing the job better than him. He certainly has been at it longer than anybody in the NFL, and he knows the league. He knows economics. And so over the time, everybody's asked, well, the Cowboys haven't won, and they got maybe they need to get a football guy. And he said that, during this 30-year drought, he's considered it a fraction of a second of not being the GM. And then he came to his senses because he's having fun doing his job. He faced the devil, as he said, to do this job. He paid for the right to do this job, and he's going to do this job.
How's that going to sit with Cowboy fans? Like, what do you think?
The Cowboy fans that continue to sell out AT&T Stadium and get the Cowboys. What are we talking?
We're stuck, Clarence. We are stuck.
We're not going anywhere. Still drinking the Kool-Aid.
Clarence Hill, ladies and gentlemen. Love it, man.
The red kind, Clarence.
DLLS Cowboys. DLLS Cowboys. And, of course, at Clarence Hill Jr., if you wish to follow him on social media. Great to see you, Clarence. I knew you would always bring it like you always do. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That's Clarence Hill here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.